Our keynote tonight, I think, might produce a theme: persistence through adversity. You know, I was thinking about this. There's a difference in the purposes of why we run. I was thinking you can run towards something, which is what most of us do. We run to a degree. We run to a career. We run to EBITDA. We run to build an organization. We're always running towards a goal, right? It's a little bit different than if you're running from something. So, for instance, if you were golfing and a mountain lion came out from the trees and you started running, it's a little bit different running from something. And by the way, Lopez, you know this. In that situation, you don't have to be the fastest guy. You just got to be faster than the slowest guy when the mountain lion's chasing you. But here's probably the worst of all when I thought about this. It's really different when you're running from someone, or even worse, a group of people. And many times we like to think, and we want God to show up in big, miraculous ways, show a lot of grace and mercy in big events. But sometimes God's hand of provision and protection and His grace could be as small as a little hole in a fence. And we're going to hear that story tonight. So I want you to watch this video, and then B. Ray and Lopez Lomong are going to come on stage.
I was just running for my life. I just wanted to live. I just want to be on this earth because God put me on this earth. I was born in South Sudan in a small village of Kakuma. I was born in a war. My parents taught me, you hear like the plane come in, you run into the ditch and because that plane will drop some bombs. We woke up early in the morning. It was a beautiful day. It was a sunny day, and we walked to our church. And all of a sudden, we see the truck coming in, and it's just like many trucks, about 6 or something. The soldiers came out of the trucks and just like with the guns, and they ordered everyone to lay down. So I remember this guy came in. He reached over and grabbed me and ripped me from my mom. It's like I was a feather. I'll take you back to the prison camp, the prison itself. So you just imagine you are living in a darkness. You don't know if it's the day or the night, and the only thing that you have to witness and see is kids going to sleep and never wake up. And we kept going and going, running, and then we get to the, my feet was completely it was swollen and, bleeding and everywhere. And I sat down, I was like, I cannot go anymore. That was the moment I did everything I can, and I gave up. And then all of a sudden we see the soldiers coming in. They're talking different language. They gave us some water in the thing, and then they brought us to the UN. And you have to be positive, you have to be focused. Because if you are not focused, in Kakuma, it's probably even worse than running around, away from the bad guys. It's a slow fight and suffering. We talk about, the good while we are here, because we ended up talking about we moan and things like that. Then we are very, very close to the grave. Every morning we run around the camp. It's about 30 kilometers. It's about 18 miles. I don't have any passport. I came here with that document and I entered the JFK International Airport. And American people opened their arms and say, welcome home. I told my dad I want to go run 30 kilometers because I want to do what I normally do.
There's a double on the line. I think Lopez Lomong might do it. He is. He gets the double. The first to win the 5,000, 10,000 double since Galen Rupp 7 years ago. What a run from Lopez Lomong.
It starts with a dream. It starts with a dream and purpose why you are here.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would stand to your feet just to help me welcome Lopez Lomong.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a privilege to get to know your story, but to speak with you. Wow, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We just saw a lot of your story, but I'd love to just kind of hear it from your own words. Take us back. You're 5 years old, those early years. What was that like?
Yeah, I thank you so much for having me here. And I remember that day very well. I was born in a small village of Kemotown in South Sudan in a war. And my parents and I, we just work, and my dad is a farmer. My mom go and take care of the household. I used to go and help her as much as I can. And all I remember is being happy. And every Sunday we go to our church. And this is the place that our church is under the big tree where we just go and worship and celebrate and worship God. As a 6 years old, I go and meet other kids and play with other kids and get to know with other kids as well. And all of a sudden, our church was attacked. The soldiers came in with their trucks, with the guns, pointed at us and said, everyone lay down. And a place that we know that it was peaceful, a place for God, became chaos. Women were running toward their kids. I remember my mom ran toward me and grabbed me so tightly as we are laying down on our bellies. She grabbed me she held me so tightly that she didn't want me to. If she could just swallow me that day. And a soldier came in, and I can hear the bullet was just all over his body, and reached over and ripped me from my mom, and pulled me away toward the truck, which was parked, to take all the kids. My mom ran and just to plead with him just to let me go, just not my son, not my kid. The soldier lowered his weapon and said, one more step, I'll open the fire. That's when I lost my childhood. That's when my childhood ended. They put us in a truck, inside the truck. The truck bed was very hot. That day, I didn't have shoes on. I was like burning my feet.
Wow.
And with all other kids, I remember was just crying. Everybody was crying. And we felt the truck was moving. We went through the very bumpy roads. We don't know where we're going because the truck was covered in a way that we don't know where we're going. We drove probably for about 3 or 4 hours. The truck stopped, and the soldier came in and blindfolded us as they are taking us away from the truck. We make one single file, and you're touching the person in front of you, their shoulder. And they make a command, and you just walk. We don't know where we're going. If we're gonna live or die. And they put us in this one-roof prison where we ended up with all the 70 or so kids house, and that was our prison camp.
Wow. And what were they expecting you to do there?
Yeah, so as a 6 years old, I was just confused. All I was doing was just crying. And so as we are sitting there, figuring out what's going on, we are all hungry. It's been a whole day. We didn't eat anything. And the soldier came in and opened the door and threw a big basin like this full of grain toward us. And everybody, all the kids were just like going at it, and we started to eat this grain. And I remember I was like trying to get some too, and I was just trying to eat, and there was a crack of a rock between my teeth. And right away, as I was like holding, I could have just swallowed because I was so hungry. 3 of the kids, I call them my angels in my book, look at me, and they look back, and it's like, call me by my name. It's like, is your brother here, Abraham? And I say, no, I was hesitant to be able to speak to them. And they said, come near to us. So I went where they were sitting, and he said, you see this grain? This grain is full of sand. They were feeding us food which was mixed with the sand. And they told me, if you want, you can pick up a grain at a time, and then when you drink your water, it will be okay. Wow. Although I was so hungry, I listened to them. Wow. And as we are sitting there, probably the next day, because we don't know if it's a day, we don't know if it's a night, because this place was so dark, 70 or so kids all packed in there. And one kid ended up like holding their stomach like this, in pain. He called for the guard and said he would like to go to the bathroom. The guard came and opened the door, and as he was going to go to the bathroom, they beat him. Oh. They beat him about 10 strokes. We can count. And he was crying, and sometimes you just like, you don't have that energy of crying. Mm. And they took him to probably use the restroom, and they brought him back in, and they beat him again. It's like, it's teaching us probably not to go outside, but all of us who are sitting in that room, in that, like a one-roof hut prison, we ended up going to where it is. We just go to the bathroom right there where we stayed. Mm. So our prison camp became sewage. Mm. The diseases happened, full of flies everywhere. And so a lot of kids started getting sick. Yeah. So the commander came up and said, why are we keeping these kids? Like, let's get the strong ones, at least the one that can be able to carry AK-47 to go to war, and separate them from the weak one. Like myself, like I was only 6 years old, so they're lining us up like this, and they come and planted AK-47. If you're taller and stronger, you go training. 3 of my angels, who they knew my friend, my brother. They never told me their name. They just tell me what to do, and they were selected to go and train. So they were doing their practice. Me and other weak ones, the sick one, were left in the prison. And I remember I witnessed a kid was sitting over there, just sitting like this, and then just doze off and sleep. And the soldiers would come in and drag them. But I didn't know that they were sleeping, but they were actually dead. And every day, these kids started dying. And there was a moment in my life, I was in that point. I said, I would like to sleep like them. It felt so peaceful, and I don't want to see this. So 3 of my friends and others came in, And because they were sleeping where we live, and then they go training in the morning. They came in and say, like, tonight we are going to take you to your mom again. And I was so excited, but they knew that I do have a big mouth. I could have told everybody else.
Right.
So, and when we were sleeping on the floor. Nothing on it. It's just in a sand. And they was putting me right in the middle of them. So in the middle of the night, they picked me up, and we are huddling other kids who were sleeping so quietly. And we opened the door. One of them opened the door, and then the other one went through, and we went, all of us, 4 of us, and we started crawling. So they found a hole on the fence somewhere. Wow. That we were crawling toward that hole on the fence. And I can remember really well that there was soldiers were cracking jokes, maybe also they're smoking some cigarette or something like that. And I saw one strike a match, and I saw the face, and one of the boys just put my head down. Mm. And the more they're talking, laughing and joking, like we are crawling to that hole on the fence. And then we went through that hole on the fence. And that's when I ran for my life. Wow. That's when the race of my life began. And I'm running away from the people who want to hurt me. And I was running. I thought we were running toward where my mom is. We ran with these boys all night, that night. When we are sleeping, when I get tired, we kind of go maybe a few meters away from because we were running in the savannah, like grassland, you make the trail. Mm-hmm. They thought maybe they will follow us. And then when they find us, some of them will just kind of shoot us. So we have to go away, and then we're facing where we need to go because we didn't know where the directions. Right. We ran, and during the day, sometimes I get so tired. They put me on their back. We run. They really encourage me. Don't give up. Keep going. And then one of them will say, see those mirage. Like when you're tired, you see a mirage of from the distance. If it look like our mountain. Yeah. And they said, you see all those mountains? That's where your mom is. If you run, you'll be there by the afternoon. Wow. And that's when I got more even powers. After this, I can be able to give my mom a big hug again. Yeah. And then we kept running and running, and we ended up in a border. We ended up going to basically completely different direction to Kenya. And from that moment, I did everything I can, and I just gave up. I said, God, I don't think I can be able to go any further because my legs were painful, swollen. I sat down, and the soldiers came in, and they asked us some questions. But their demeanor was a little better because they were good. That they're not as aggressive as the other people, and we knew that it was Kenyan border guards. Took us to the UN to be registered, and they took us to the Kakuma refugee camp.
So you ran for several days straight, no food, no water, and then am I right, 3?
Right.
Solid days.
Yeah. Along the way, there was somehow God is amazing. Yeah. So somehow there was some water oasis somewhere.
Wow.
And the boys, these boys were two of them always have to be with me. And so they use a big leaf like this, to fetch the water. So they would go drink the water by themselves, and then they would fetch the water for me, and they would bring it for me. Mm-hmm. And the whole time they were just encouraging me, hey, don't give up. We are here with you. Don't worry about it. We're going to take you to your parents. They were just all there because, they were only probably 14 years old. I don't know why they would have somebody like myself to slow them down. But the whole thing they wanted to do is they wanted me to be able to be here to talk to you today. Those are my
Amen. So out of a camp of 70 some odd children, they saw you, and that's amazing. And so take us to the refugee camp. You were there for 12 years?
10 years.
10 years. What was that like?
Yeah, Kakuma refugee camp is a tough place, just constant survival. You're fighting for your survival. And so there were 4 of us, and what the UN were doing is they were trying to group kids into 10 groups, because the rations that we are getting is not enough to be able to sustain yourself for 45 days. Every 45 days we get food. So you get a little salt, you get a little sugar, you have a little cornmeal, and so you have to put all together in as a group. So we moved to 6 other kids in another tent, which we form another family. And so we introduce each other, and they're all welcoming, So we put all our food together. And we eat 1 meal a day, and we eat at midnight, because you need to be able to have something in your stomach when you go to sleep. And to distract ourselves from hunger, we run around the perimeter of the camp, which is about 30 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
To not think about food, because you know where the food is. You'll be tempted to go and grab maybe like 1 or 2 corn, and then you started eating that, and then you reduce the ration. And one day of every week, it's on Tuesdays, it's a garbage day. This is where the UN faculty and the UN workers, they go dump their garbage from the compound. And they will bring them with wheelbarrow. We can hear the wheelbarrow come in. And that is our delicacy. All that garbage, we eat that. Mm. We eat everything that was they put in that garbage pit. We eat half-peeled banana, everything, or maybe a little can of maybe like a spaghetti sauce. We eat that. We eat everything in that. So that day we don't eat, and we just keep on motivating each other. Sometimes disease kill some of our friends. We have to regroup. We go bury our person, and then come back, and we think about the next. The next thing we need to do. We don't want to be thinking about the back. We don't want to know about what happened with ourselves, how we get there, but we want to know where we go forward. To just motivate each other, to encourage each other, to not give up. If somebody is down, we go back and we talk to them, and we sleep outside sometimes because we don't have any books. We see the stars. And the older boys will tell us the stories about the stars and this, all these things, because a kid who's a hungry kid and will be able to, it will be homesick, thinking about the home and things like that. And sometimes, other kids were we lost a lot of kids like that.
So I knew a little bit about the garbage, and I've been praying for you for a couple weeks, just getting this privilege, and God gave me a story. He reminded me that when I went to Hawaii to visit my sister, it was garbage day. And on every house up and down the street were the garbage cans. And I wanted to learn as many Hawaiian words as I could. I knew Mele Kalikimaka, Merry Christmas, that's all I knew. And on every garbage can, it said mahalo. So I was so proud when my sister came home from work. I thought, I know the word for garbage. You are the most grateful person, and I've heard you give so much gratitude, and mahalo means thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I thought that was such a sweet connection with you, is you have gone from garbage to gratitude in such a beautiful, beautiful way. So what happens? So after the 10 years, Bush has a campaign, and you have a way to be adopted into the United States.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I many years past, we constantly doing this running, and we encourage each other to do all these things. Now I become a little older. I started taking care of other kids, and I always, in the camp, as I said, it's a constant survival. You want to do anything to help your friends. In your own, basically your family, and so I always want to do something. I went out, I started helping somebody and around there, and then this person was so generous and gave me 5 shillings. And I put that 5 shillings in my pocket and I tie it nicely on my little short. I have a little short. And I said, when our ration finishes, I can be able to go buy food for my family. Oh, I want to like save this in case of anything. So, and there was something else happened about like there is an Olympic coming up. This was in the year 2000. And I was like, okay, where can we go see this Olympic? I thought it was just a place we go see and then we go. And other boys was like, yeah, we need to go watch television in this rich Kenyan man house. It's about 5 miles away. So we went there and we knocked at the door. And I was like, he was like, open his door. He's like asking us, like, where do you guys come from? Like, we come from the camp. We would like to watch the Olympics. And he said, he looked at all of us, like, scanned a little bit. And it was like 5 shillings.
No.
Yes. So we went in. I reached out of my 5 shilling in my pocket. I was like, oh, well, I don't want to walk all the way to the camp by myself. Let me just give the 5 shillings. So I gave my 5 shillings, and he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, you, the dirty one." I was like dirty and all this. He said, I don't want you to sit on my couch. You go sit on the ground." So I went so close to the television, and this television was a small little television, black and white, operated by the car battery. And I went close to that, and I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Like the first time I watched the television. And what was playing was Michael Johnson running 400 meters final in Sydney Olympics. And we thought we were going to go watch football, which is soccer.
Right.
Which is about 90 minutes, which is not 40-something seconds. So that was a terrible thing. And it's not a good way of me giving my 5 shillings, but it was perfect. So I went and sat down. Michael Johnson ran 400 meters. I'm watching. Everybody was taking pictures. There was a flash. And he finishes his race, celebrated, went to the podium, and he got the medal. National anthem happens. American flag was going like this. And I said, I want to run as fast as that guy. Wow. One day, for that country one day. And I was like, and I was just thinking, this person ran so fast, went to the podium, he's given a medal, and I see he shed a tear. And it's so hard for us, especially being in a camp, being a refugee, to show your emotions like that. Because if you show your emotion like that, everybody else is going to be having the same thing. Mm-hmm. So you always have to cry inside. Wow. And for him, being on top of the world and cry, that took me a long time. But I knew, after knowing then, he was running for something bigger than himself. Wow. He was running for his nation. He was so proud of his community and everybody who supported him. And so a year later, in 2001, we went to this church. We go to church all the time, like in our church. Like it was just so great. When you go to church, you come back, you're actually full. You don't want to think about food because you're full of God. Oh, you're full of you're just so good. Like so, after church, there was an announcement, and one person from the American delegation came in and said, the United States government wants 3,500 lost boys to be resettled in the United States. If you want, you can write your life story, and then you can bring next week on Sunday. So basically, our church became also a post office, a way of communicating with the rest of the world. So, and again, I didn't own any book, pencil or something. I used to admire people who have a pen on their pocket like this. And I say, I wish I can just have that amazing, to be that kind of person, because it gives you that power. You can be able to write your thoughts. You can be able to think. And I have to go borrow a pen and a paper to write my life story in Kiswahili. And then I go from one kid to another. We translate. Wow. It's actually worse than Google Translate, maybe. but I knew probably the person who read that letter, God was there with that person, knew exactly what I was saying. Wow. And the next week, we brought our letters, and then we waited for a long time before we got our letters back. So every week, after maybe like 6 weeks, every week like there was people giving the letters, and then it came to mind. I received a letter with an envelope, one of those envelopes with the blue and red, with my name on it, and I was so happy to be able to receive that. And I didn't even know how to read it. I ran to my tent, I kneeled down, I prayed. I said, whatever is in here, I hope I can be able to go to the United States. I hope I can be able to go to America in a place next to heaven.
A place next to heaven.
So I went out and I tried to open this letter. I was like, what if it's bad? I don't know how to read it. So I ran back to where all the other boys were opening their letters. I look at their letters, and then one of them said, what does yours say? And I said, I don't know. I said, I didn't even open it. I said, open it. I was I don't want to open it. So somehow I got a courage to give my letter to somebody else to open it. And the letter on top was called congratulations.
Wow.
And that was when I knew God does crazy things. And the people of America opening their arms to invite me, a lost boy of Sudan, living in Kakuma refugee camp, a place that nobody know, and you're just called a refugee. You don't have any country you're just there. From that moment, I knew that I will go to America, and I will work so hard so I can be able to end that poverty. I can be able to get not 5 shillings, but hopefully more shillings to be able to help the kids in a refugee camp.
Wow. Amen. Thank you. Before we leave the story of the refugee camp, is there something relevant about the name of the refugee camp?
Yes. So Kakuma is basically, its name is called Nowhere. And it's a place that they wanted to, because there was a lot of, during the war, there was a lot of the South Sudanese charging in. Some went to Ethiopia, and then they ended up coming to Kenya. There was also housing a lot of Somalian refugees, Ethiopian refugees, and the Rwandan refugees as well. In 2004, when that genocide was happening. It's basically, and then we were the first one in there. And then the camp kept growing and growing and growing. And so imagine you're called lost boy of Sudan living nowhere. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So you get to upstate New York, but you're already 16, 17 years old, and now you have your eye on college, I think. Right. So what was it about Arizona? What did you see there?
Yeah, Northern Arizona University. When I first went to high school, I was struggling. I was 16 years old. I don't know how to read even a small book for the kids and even comprehend. My mother was so good and talked to the people in school. We need to introduce the ESL classes, and just to help me. And I worked so hard because I know the power of education, something that I didn't have. And I went from borrowing a pencil and a paper to actually having my own backpack with a full of books and crayons for myself.
That's so great.
And that was something I knew I'm going to work so hard. I will do anything to succeed. And running was also part of that. And every time when I go running, it reminded me where I come from. It reminded me of the journey that I have to take to be able to just see opportunity. And so I signed up for the cross country. And right away I told my coach, I said, I want to go to Olympic one day.
Wow.
And I said, I want to go to Olympics in 2008. That's what I said. And right away, he looked at me and smiled. It's like, okay, we need to win some small do meets first before we think about Olympics. And I said, I will work very hard to be able to get to where I need to be. And so I did everything. I ended up in northern Arizona. Northern Arizona, it reminded me of my village. Mountain, and it's really great. And so I went there. I told my college then too, a college coach. I said I would like to go to Olympics one day, and we kept working. Won few NCAA championships, and from that moment they knew I have something bigger, and maybe I might have a chance to be able to go to Olympics. Because the reason why I want to go to Olympics is I want to give back to American people. Because they opened the door for me to come here, and I want to be able to contribute to this great nation. I went out, came from nowhere with no name, no identity, to come back and be an American, and I think. Yeah. I think that's an incredible thing, and when I wear my USA on my chest, I know that the kid who was watching me somewhere is just exactly the way I watch Michael Johnson, and it's exactly the same jersey, exactly the same people, and I want them to be able to dream as well, to dream exactly like that. So we want to be able to give them opportunity to do so.
Thank you. So the mountains made you think of your village. But did you ever get a chance to reunite with your family?
Yes. In 2007, I got to go to my village, and so I went there, and I met my mom, because she basically, they were all there, like my mom, my dad. They were like, okay, we need to come, and we need to like rescue you first, because when I was kidnapped, they went and buried my belongings, because they didn't know like I'm gonna come back. They have to go back and like bless that area and take me out of the grave. And so as I was there, I just saw a lot of things. Like kids have to go and fetch water very far away. The girls have to do all these things. And something that really stuck to my heart was there was a woman brought a child, a very sick kid, and give this kid to me and say, like, please give my child medicine. And the only medicine I had was malaria pills that I was taking every day. And this kid passed away from my arm. Oh. And I say, it seems like I didn't do something to rescue that child. Mm-hmm. When I came back, right away, I started, I called a few people, and I had to do something to help the kids like that, to never die again like that. Mm-hmm. So we ended up partnering with World Vision, and I saw how incredible work World Vision are doing, going to the community like myself and villages, and they're there for like about 18 years, transforming the whole community, giving clean water, and I said, I would like to partner with you. I used to think I want to run to break records. I want to run for medals. Like, I think I was wrong, and I think I was turning the different ways. I was thinking about me. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to use this platform to be able to do something for those people who are still suffering. Because American people rescued me, and I don't want that thing to continue again in South Sudan. Mm-hmm. So our partnership grew really well. We started World Vision, the arm of World Vision is called Team World Vision. So basically what we do is like, there's a bunch of like athlete runners, they sign up to go run marathons and things like that. But I told them, come to Oregon. There is a long, like a relay, it's called like Hood to Coast. Mm-hmm. You start from Mount Hood all the way to the coast. And so we raise, so that we can be able to raise money for clean water for South Sudan. And so, because I'm a runner, I have a lot of connections. So I brought a lot of athletes to come and, to the dinner and talk to, everybody's like, brought a lot of Olympians with their medals sometimes, and everybody was so excited. So far, we started about 2012 to now. We raised about like $12 million for the clean water for South Sudan,
Wow.
and it's incredible.
So we're going to wrap up in a minute, but you mentioned a marathon, but my understanding there is someone in your family who's run a marathon, and tell us about that. Tell us about her.
Yes. So the only person in my household that beat me with few medals is my wife. She ran a lot of marathons, and I ran a lot of track. So, and as I am transitioning from being active athlete and doing more of this, and talking about South Sudan, talking about things that we need for South Sudan, my partnership with the World Vision, and I want to one day maybe run a marathon so that I can be able to bring even like I can finish probably like 60th. As long as I have the medal, I can say, hey, I did that too. It'll be a win.
That's so great. So, Lopez, you obviously have God's heart. You've won the hearts of this room. What can we do to support you? You still have a heavy heart for Sudan. Tell us where we're going from here and what we can do.
Yeah, I think this room is, I see a lot of hope. I see a lot of people that can be able to make a big impact in the world. I think we just need to think how we can be able to partner with an organization like World Vision. But come with us and work with us, because this organization, for like people like myself, we are here because of people like World Vision, because they come in and help us with things that really matter. And clean water is very important. And so throughout my life, as I was telling you, I never get here by myself. I always have people who want to bring me along, And I remember being in that in a captivity, in that prison. I had 3 angels who brought me here. And in a Kakuma refugee camp, I had 10 boys who took care of me and brought me here. Came all the way to Syracuse, New York. I had my mom and coaches and mentors and my friends who really lifted me up to be where I need to be. And I think this is the only nation that if you dream of something, that dream will come through. And I think all of us here, if you have you get in that call, please join us and let's do something so impactful that can be able to change the world. And I think that's the only thing I can be able to share today.
You went from 3 to 10 to family, an Olympic team. You have at least 350 people on your team today, and we just want to thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
Lopez
Thank you so much.
Lomong. Thank you. What an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much.